Oh, we're already laughing. We're live. Hi guys.
Hello.
I'm Christy Forsyth.
And I'm Davey Fielding.
And we are doing,
Yes.
I think this is our first live together,
It
is
is,
it?
isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah.
All these years you were trying to get me to do it and I was hiding away. And
But here
we
he
are.
is. He's out.
Yes, yay. I can't actually believe that we're doing this.
I know.
I know.
It's exciting.
Yeah.
Do you, well, I think it's tagged on yours.
Is it?
Unless
Shall I
you want to
have a
share it. Do you want to share it if you have your phone?
look? Yeah, let me do that because I'm
We'll let
so
Davey
not
share it.
technical. Those that know
Bear
me
with us,
know
guys.
I'm the most untechnical person. Let's see if it's on there.
Yeah, see if
where
it
are
shows
we?
up on your page.
It'd be great if it would.
Yeah.
And then we don't need to do anything because I'm not technical and you guys know that.
So say hi, guys, if you're watching.
Yeah, hang on. So it's not
I wonder
on
what
the
this button looks like. It does something.
So how do I? What do I do?
That's
So
inviting.
how do I?
Oh, what do I do?
So I go share. Okay, share. Okay. And I'm gonna put live with Christy. There you go. Share now. Live with Christy.
Look at us figuring
Yeah.
technology out.
I'm so not. With the grandkids do everything for us.
Uh-huh. Do they?
Yeah, they have to.
Can they come here now and help us out with our video?
Oh look, I'm shared.
There
Look.
you are. There we
Oh.
are.
Oh, insight. Yeah, that's fine. It says insight's unavailable. I don't need to see an insight.
Okay.
There you are. Thank you.
But here we are.
Yes.
So, for those of you who don't know this, Davey and I are in the same office space
Yes.
together.
It's
We're office
exciting.
mates.
Yes.
Yeah. And we're both busy a lot. We
Yes.
both are constantly seeing clients and back to back. And so we've been meaning to do these videos for a while, but it's just been hard to get to.
We're like kind of ships that pass in the night, aren't we?
We
Really?
really are. It's hopping around here and
Yeah.
we've been busy.
And then I hate it when you go home at night because I'm like, oh no.
I hate it when you're not
And
here.
then I'm not here. Yeah. I'm like, oh gosh. But yeah, I'm glad that we're doing this. Thank you. Yes,
Yeah, so we're
yes.
here finally and we're really excited about it. One of the things that we have talked about, you know, in between things is one of the things that we notice in the work that we do is that there are a lot of misconceptions about psychic readings and about how they work or what happens or stuff like that. So we thought we would do a video to talk about it.
Absolutely. I think it. I'll be honest. Before I even started doing it as a career, I feel myself I had a lot of misconceptions
Me too.
about what it was. You know, what does it all mean? I went to psychics occasionally, but not really. I think because I grew up with a lot of it, like with the family being psychic, and I didn't really hang around it, if that makes any sense. So yeah, I can understand how people get the wrong end of the stick.
Definitely. I thought that too. And I even remember, it's funny to look back on now, but I had a psychic reading like 10 years ago or so now. And she told me that I was going to be doing all the things that I'm doing now. And it was so far removed from where I was at the time. I remember leaving that going, she doesn't know what the heck she's talking about, right? Like,
Yeah.
I was like, that was a terrible reading, I remember saying. And it's so funny because honestly, now that I understand, it was the best reading I ever had in my life. But I just I couldn't see it for myself yet. It was so far away from where I was at.
I had the exact same experience.
Did you?
2002. With this woman, and she was telling me what was going to happen in the end. She went, and you're going to be doing everything I'm doing, but on a bigger scale. And I was like, no, I'm not.
Like, what are you talking about?
What are you talking about? And she was like, no, you're going to do what I'm doing. I went, what do you mean? She went, this. And I went, I'm not going to be doing this. I was quite rude.
So shout out to the psychics who saw us better than we did.
Yes, but what was that? That was 2002, so that was like 20 years ago. And who knew?
Yeah.
Who knew that we would be
I knew.
here?
I mean, I
well,
told you.
I did.
when I met him, yeah.
Oh, she knew.
I knew.
You did. You came up to me, when was it? 2014. And I think I'd only been in this country about a week.
Yeah, I was going to say, you just got here, I
It
think.
was literally a week, and or not even that, a week, 4 days, 5. It was on that Friday. And you came up to me, what do you do? And I went, what do you mean? What do I do? What do you do? Like, spiritually, what do you do? I went, I don't do anything. I don't do anything. She went, yes, you do. And I went, no, I don't. And I had to walk away because I thought, oh my God, that I'm getting sussed. Yeah, you kind of, you did that.
I know.
Yes.
And it's funny because, like, the reason that you were at that party in the first place was because I heard about you and intuitively, like, I knew that we needed to meet. So I was like, please bring him.
And I was thinking about the other day how it's really interesting. Out of all the people since I've been here, that very first connection with you has remained so strong, hasn't it? Right from that first week.
Yeah.
I love it. Thank you.
Yep. Yeah. I mean, I think that that's what the universe does, right? Is it makes those important connections. And I knew right then that there was something there that was important.
Thank
for
you.
sure.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
Yeah.
I think that my big thing was always to get started, and I get that a lot with people that sit in front of me and they say, I want to do what you're doing, but how do I start? And I think that was one of my hardest things, is how to get started. But
I think it's hard to believe in yourself sometimes, or to trust in that
you're not going crazy.
Yeah.
You're like, oh, am I just making this stuff up? That's what I get. Like, that's what was happening was, am I making this up? Like, you know, and then, because when it's first happening, there's no validation. You haven't got a lot of people opposite you going, you know, yeah, you're right. You know, you're right with that. So yeah, I'm pleased that I'm here now.
And I think that psychic information is more subtle. Like I would say, it's intuition is a lot quieter than fear. So it's hard to trust that. And I think that that's also, you know, part of what people don't always understand about intuition is, number one, you guys are all intuitively connecting in your own way, but sometimes that's quieter. And I think even for us, when we're connecting and we're reading, we're really having to like lean into that really subtle intuitive information. I mean, sometimes it does smack you in the forehead, but then sometimes it's more subtle than that.
And it really depends on how open that person is.
That's huge.
In terms of, you know, we're reading their frequency, their vibration, their energy, and we wouldn't be able to do what we do if we couldn't do that.
Right.
Regardless of what anyone might say or think, that's how we operate. And it took me a while to realize that it wasn't per se me and my gift of whether I could read them or not. It was whether the person in front of me is open to this, is their vibration is of a level that I'm able to go in, and my guides and my spirit guides and my people are able to give me information, you know. And I think that was one of the hardest things, actually, was to not take it personally. Yeah,
because you start to doubt yourself, right? But I think, like, when it comes to energy, you know, part of my gift is I see auras, right? So that's like the energy field around people. And I've watched either people pull that in when they get nervous, when you go to read them, or people will come in that way if they're more skeptical or just not open to being read, whether it's conscious or unconscious. And so when somebody's energy field is that close, it makes it nearly impossible to read.
Do you know what I do? I'm giving all my secrets away. If I really can't read somebody, I'll say, oh, can I have a look at a photo? Can I have a look at a photo of your partner or whoever? And I'll say, oh, can I have a look at a photo of a pair of you together? Yeah. And then I'll read the person who's in front of me off the phone, off their photo. Yeah. Because more likely that photo was taken, I'm able to get more of that sometimes.
It's an avenue into the energy.
But in terms of not a lot of people this happens with. So don't everyone that comes to me think that I'm reading their votes. But there are some people that are really, you know, I also, see, like you, I've learned on the job. So when someone's sitting there and they come in with their arms crossed, I had one the other day, actually. Yeah. And I'm like, can you uncross, please? You know,
it's closed energy.
Because you're guarded, and it's hard, isn't it, trying to get information from somebody that isn't being compliant with what, you know. I ask for validation and confirmation, as I'm sure you do, And if they're not giving that back, almost like someone said to them, whatever you do, don't give anything away.
Yeah. Yes.
Don't say nothing.
Yes.
So I get people come to me and I'll say, I've got a lady here with a J name who's coming in for you. She's given me like, I feel like she could be your mother or your grandmother. Maybe. And I'm like, is your grandmother's name begin with a J? Perhaps. And I'm like, well.
I'm laughing because I know how much like that closes the energy, right? Like when we're talking about keeping your energy close, like that is closed energy. It makes it way harder.
Yes, I can even get the name. So I'd go, was your grandmother called Janet? Possibly. Well, yes or no. But I get how people don't understand how it works.
Sure.
And they don't understand, they're like, well, how do you know that? And how do you know that Janet is my grandmother and not some random Janet? And I'm like, well, don't work like that.
Right.
Yeah. Like there's how many names? There's a billion names I could be grabbing out of the air, but I just so happen to grab your grandmother's name out. Hello, you've got to go with that, surely.
Yeah.
Otherwise, why are you sat in front of me? And I think that's it as well. It's like, you want this, but then maybe you don't want this. I don't know. Right. It's interesting, isn't it?
I think it's a real process. And I think the best readings happen together. And I understand that people are skeptical and they want to know, like, is this real? But I also think the more that you let yourself be open and let it be an interactive, let's do this together kind of process, that's, like, in my opinion, where I find I get the most open energy.
Absolutely.
That's where I get, like, the really good, deep, detailed information.
Sometimes I have to get the person away from their own headspace.
Yep.
So I'll crack a joke, I'll maybe stand up, I'll maybe say, oh, come on, shake it out. Oh, tell me a bit about where you grew up, and just trying to get them to forget that they're in the room with me.
Yep, it opens the energy.
Yeah, and it really does work. Well, I think it works anyway.
Yeah.
But it's tough.
Yeah.
And it's tough, particularly when you first start. So all those people that are starting on their kind of spiritual journey, there's no one really tells you much about that, of how to deal with people who aren't giving a lot. They're not giving a lot of information back. Yeah,
that's really true. I think we should talk too, since we're talking about readings, about psychic information. So psychic information would be past, present, future information, especially future information. And I think that this is really important because I think sometimes people come in for a reading and you give them the information and they take that as like a hard and fast description of exactly where things are going to go. And sometimes that's true. But what happens is, like, when we do a psychic reading, we're only taking a psychic snapshot of the path as it stands at that current moment.
Absolutely.
And I've seen it change even from like week to week when I'm working with people, where the path looks a little bit different, because what's happening is we all have free will. And we all are bouncing off of one another. And so one person's action affects other people's, and it can change the path or it cannot. There are some things that are a little bit more flexible in our experiences, where there are other things that I always say, like, they're more destiny, or they're built into our soul charts, that are like more able to read, or will come up more consistently in a reading. But then there are those other things that are more flexible. So one thing might come up in a reading one week, and that might look totally different the next week.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And some people really, their minds are quite muddled. They really don't know what they want in life, or they're stuck in their lives. And I can be reading them and I literally will see it change in front of me. So I'm like, oh, well, that's really odd.
You can see it even in that moment.
I saw you going to college, and now I don't think you're going to college. And I know that sometimes the people are possibly sitting there going, well, that's a crock of whatever, because, you're changing the picture. But it isn't that. It's like a Rubik's Cube. Yeah. It's shifting constantly.
Yeah, that's a good way to say it. Yeah.
Isn't it? And it's, they have got free will, but everyone around them has free will.
Yes, exactly.
So, like, are you going to end up with the boy? Yeah, you are. However, I don't know what's going on in his mind that might change this, in terms of maybe someone else comes into the picture, someone else has an opinion. So,
Yeah.
you know, there's all those dimensions and those frequencies that come into play.
Yep. And the universe too, like if there's a better option coming along, the universe will redirect the path too, right? Because again, it's constantly moving and there's always these adjustments that are being made. So maybe, like at one point that person was going to be a good fit for you, and then all of a sudden there's like somebody who's a little bit more aligned for you.
Yeah.
And your path is going to get moved that way.
And if your lesson has been learned with that person, then that's possibly why it's going to end, or it's ended, or, you know, and that something better is coming in. It's always that belief that you have to believe that someone better is coming in. I'm talking about relationship wise now. When people say, you know,
trust, right?
But it's hard. It's hard when they, you know, I try not to give people that kind of negative in terms of, if I do see it per se, I'll always be a bit cautious. But there are people that will say, "Oh, you're not going to tell me anything bad, are you?" And I'm like, "What do you mean by that?" "Well, I don't want to know if I'm going to die." I said, "Well, I'd never tell you that." "I don't want to know if I'm going to split up with my partner." I was like, "Okay, we won't go there then. We won't." You know, so kind of a lot of what I do is, and you know this one, is you're kind of led with the person who's in front of you as well.
Yeah, you're responding to the energy that's in front of you.
Yeah, absolutely.
For sure, yeah. I also think that timing is really important to talk about, because I think that timing is always changing too, right? You might in that moment get a snapshot of this is going to happen in this period of time, right? But again, we're dealing with free will here, so that's always changing. And I always say, you know, when I tell somebody about a timing that I feel and they're disappointed, for example, by like the length of time that seems like it's going to take, I say focus on everything you can do to move that forward. You know, start to manifest that, because everything psychic is flexible.
Absolutely.
And you can change that. You can move the timeline of that up sometimes.
Absolutely. And it's you know, it's the higher you vibrate, the more positives are coming in. But it's sometimes hard to be in a positive state of vibration. It really is. So, but I think that really does affect us.
Sure.
You know, and particularly when you're looking to get the job and you're thinking, why am I not getting the job? Well, then it's not, you know, you are supposed to have the job, but it's not happening yet because you're not in that level of higher frequency vibration. Right.
You're not an energetic match.
Yeah.
Or there's something coming along that's going to be better for you.
Yeah. So I think what we're saying really is, it's not always that I kind of can see what's going to happen per se, because it can change. And it's not necessarily me that maybe isn't right. It's something going on with the person in front of me, you know?
Yep. And that's, it's like just a snapshot of the energy as it stands too.
Absolutely.
Yep. Yeah. So I think that that's important to keep for people to keep in mind with all of that, for sure.
And I think that's why I lean a lot into conversation throughout my sessions. I love getting to know people. I love connecting with them. Yeah. I really do.
I do too. And that's like, so a lot of you that work with me know, like, I don't do a lot of reading. The reading is usually as part of my soul therapy sessions now, because I love the work with people. I love to dive in and say, how do we work together to get you from where you are to where you want to be? And part of that too, and I know you do this with people too, is like helping them to pull out their own intuition.
I love
and to connect with their own intuition and to listen to that. And even if we say something that like they look at and they go, nope, that doesn't connect for me, then I always encourage people to listen to that. Like I always say, take what resonates with you and leave the rest too, because you are always going to be the authority on your best life path over anybody. I don't care how gifted of a psychic, you know. So if something doesn't feel right, maybe it's not, or maybe it's just like we were saying earlier, maybe you just don't see it for yourself yet either.
I love it when I get to work with like entrepreneurs, people that come to me and say, I've got this idea for a store, but I'm not quite sure about it. And then I'm like, well, you know, I'm getting this and I'm getting this, and it's great to work with that. But then they're giving me back feedback.
Yes, it's so much fun.
I love that. I love that. So that's a big part of kind of what I do as well. Is that what we do is we're able to give that information to somebody if they're ready for it.
Yep.
sometimes they're not.
Yeah, sometimes they're not, and that's okay too.
Yeah.
Yep. But I think when you are open and you can do that, and you, like, it can be interactive. I think that's especially helpful.
I love it.
Yeah, I love like building things with people. And I also think, like, as a side note, something I've noticed, just from, I'm sure you hear about like readings that other people have gotten and things like that, and there are times that people have been told things that like really don't resonate for them, and they get very stressed out about that.
Yes.
Like, you know, it scares them, or it doesn't make sense, or it doesn't feel right to them. And like I said, I think it's really important to honor what feels right for you at the end of the day.
And there's something, you know, the level of training that I did have, which I talk about, I was always told that you never talk about death. You don't talk about, you know, if you're going to talk about how somebody died, you don't go into gory details. You know, if you see something's going to end, you got to be very cautious about that, because if that person's not ready for that ending, they have no idea.
Right.
I'm not going to be the bearer of bad news when they're not even thinking about that at that time.
Our job is not to scare the shit out of people.
And some people, yeah, exactly. But some people do give them this information.
Yes, I agree.
And it's not always correct either.
Right.
But I wonder how much does that then play on their mind? Then they kind of like they're suspecting it or looking for it.
Yeah.
That then contributes to it actually happening.
Yes. Yeah.
Which makes me go, you know, I really thought it long and hard before I did this as a career, mostly because I took on the huge responsibility of what messages I was going to be delivering to people. Oh, look at me. Take a breath. And big
energy release.
And that it was a huge responsibility. And you could, in many ways, potentially destroy someone with what you give them.
It's a huge responsibility, and I think you have to treat it accordingly. I agree 100%. If you're doing it, in my opinion, the right way.
Yes.
Yeah.
And you have to be cautious.
Yep.
And so, yeah, I'm glad we're talking about that, actually.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, I think that's really important.
Yeah.
Another thing that, since we're just like, part of the work that I've done is actually undoing some of like the work that has been really damaging with people. And another thing that I've noticed is people being told that there's some form of like a curse on them, and that only that particular person can remove that. And I think that it's really important to keep in mind, number one, does that feel right to you? But number two, if somebody is leading with a really powerful fear-based energy, that should bring up some red flags for you.
There are, you know, let's not lie, there are people that are throwing things at people, and there are people affected by that.
Yep. Absolutely.
But not everybody can remove it, and not everybody can get rid of it, and not everybody knows quite what they're talking about. And I do the same when I you know, I haven't done house clearings for a good 6 months because I've not had the time, to be honest with you. But there were a lot of times when I was going into the house where they'd had 3 or 4 people previous to me trying to do, and just it hadn't worked. So then I go in and they've made it even worse. But, you know, I don't know. I think that whole thing, though, you know, you've got an entity on you. You've got an entity on you. You've got a curse on you. You've got a, you know, it's just
like those fear-based tactics.
It gets so old.
You gotta listen, like when it feels like you're being manipulated. I think, you know, and really, because I've just seen a lot of damage with that. And ultimately, you want to look for somebody who's going to connect with the light and lead with the light, and you can feel the difference if you really go within and feel that.
You know, and I can, and you can find you somebody that can really help. If that's what you feel, if you feel you've got things on you, or you feel you've been cursed, then we can direct you to the right people that can help you with that. You know?
Absolutely. Yeah, and I think that it's really important to keep in mind that there isn't going to be just like that one person, and especially like if it seems like that comes from a manipulative place. Yeah.
There's a lot of, I've always said that I play completely with the dark. I mean, of course, with the light, I mean, oh gosh, what am I saying? Oh my God.
Wait, what?
What? That I work completely with the light. But the dark also has to be respected. But I don't go with the dark. I don't meddle with the dark. I don't, and neither do you.
No.
And I think that it's essential that's just the way I am. That's what I do.
Yeah.
That's just who I am. But I don't, but there are a lot of people that do play with the dark. And I'm not dishing that. I'm not saying that's wrong.
Yeah.
But I'm also saying that's their choice.
Yes.
But that's not my choice.
And I think at the end of the day, people have to trust their own intuition
Yeah.
to say, I feel drawn to be helped by this person. Or I don't know why, but I have a reaction to that doesn't feel quite right to me. What we really want to encourage at the end of the day is people to honor their own intuition and to listen, because I think sometimes like what's being presented on the surface can look differently.
Absolutely.
Energetically underneath.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like honoring that above all else. So most importantly with all of this, it's just that all of you have your own intuition and your own intuitive gifts, and honoring that and listening to that, and we just help to kind of be a support and a guide with that.
And those people that come to me, you know how bloody stupid I am and how silly I am, and
Davey has me laughing every day.
I mean, I'm trying to be serious in this conversation, but normally I'm not. And
I know.
Even when I said, I just deal with the dark. I mean, what the heck? I want to swear. You guys know I swear. I'm terrible at swearing.
You can swear.
Oh, can I swear?
Yeah.
I'll offend everyone.
Just be who you are.
Yeah. But it is, it's been a journey. It's been a bloody journey. But it's been a journey that I'm really grateful for and I'm really thankful for. And I think the main thing is that I'm following my true calling.
Yes. 100%.
And I say to people, I think that's where a lot of people become ill and things are not working out for them, because they're not listening to where they're supposed to be and who they're supposed to be.
Yeah.
And I think that's why we're here.
Yep.
We can offer them that. We can help them find out where they're supposed to be.
We help them with the blind spots.
Yes.
Yeah. Because we all have them. Myself, yourself included,
Absolutely.
right? And we actually help each other out.
Yes. Well, this poor
With our blind
cow.
spots.
I'm always coming up to it. Like I said, we're like ships, and I'm there with me teddy bear and me Diet Coke and me chocolate, and I'm like, Christy, have you got a moment? I've got this issue going on at the moment. And she's like, okay.
We have the most fun here.
We do.
Yeah. And it's important to support
Yes.
each other and help each other. And
Yeah, you're like my Julia of the building.
Yeah.
Yeah, poor Julia. I mean, I'm surprised she's got any hair left. That poor woman. What she has to put up with me. Oh, gosh. But, I'm very grateful. Thank you.
Yeah,
Yes,
I'm grateful
yes.
too. I think it's been a great,
Yes.
we moved in together
Yes.
in what, May?
May.
I think, yeah.
It does not seem like it was that long ago,
Yeah.
but it was that long ago.
Yeah.
And then I look back and I go, oh my God, what we've gone through with the heat, and now we're going through with the cold. It was like the tsunami in here, wasn't it? Like the heat was like, It was
When we
like
didn't have air.
Club Tropicana Elmira. It was. It really was so.
We were definitely pretty sweaty for a little period of time until we got that fixed and set.
Plus we did get some parrots, some palm trees.
Yeah, I was just gonna say we could have grown some palm trees inside, but yeah.
Hysterical.
Yeah. Did we miss anything?
I don't know. I'll probably get off and I'll go, oh my God.
Yeah.
What was I thinking?
Probably
What was I saying? I'm scatty though. I mean, you know that. Well, I don't
Me
need to
too.
tell anybody
Me too.
that.
Well, I think that when you're that people who are operating mostly out of their higher chakras, like we need to ground ourselves more, but we do tend to be a little bit.
And I don't do a lot of the homework of that. And you know that. You know that.
Well, the chocolate is grounding. It's true.
And the Diet Coke's grounding.
Yeah.
I'm a lazy old cow. I really am, and I'm the worst person in terms of that. In terms of doing. No, I don't mean to put myself down, but I know that But a lot of it is because I'm so exhausted at the end of the day.
Yeah. It's,
you know,
it's a lot.
Last thing I
what
want to
you're
do
doing.
is to sit, but I have to really take time out. I'm not disciplined, and I think a lot of people that do what I do are very disciplined. I know you're very disciplined, but I'm not really disciplined. So I'm kind of like the grab your bag, run for it. Psychic medium. I'm like turn up and got 2 minutes to spare. Psychic medium. But somehow it works.
Yeah,
somehow it
does
works.
work, and it's going well. And you know what? Like we all have things
Yeah.
that we have to progress with.
Yeah,
So,
I love it.
and if we've made all of our progress, then we probably don't have a point here. So
I love that.
yeah.
I'm glad this is our first live. I hope it's not the last live.
Not at all. No, the plan is for us to do more of these.
Yes.
So we would
Yeah.
like to do that.
Yeah.
And now that things are settling a little bit,
Yeah.
we can start to do that more.
That'd be
So we
cool,
would like
yeah.
to. But tell people if they want to schedule with you.
Yeah, to go through the psychic page.
Okay. Yep. His page is tagged in the Facebook and on the replay on my YouTube. I will make sure that I put that in the description, so it'll be down there.
I'm booking into February now, so I can't deal.
He's
Like
a
I
busy
said,
guy. Like he
yeah.
said, we're like back to back and
Yeah.
busy, so we don't even always get to see each other
No.
except for hi, hello, and
And I work with the police as well. I work with the FBI. So there's no stop for me. There's no there's hardly rarely a time out, which my husband, it drives him nuts because I'm always on. But I wouldn't have it any other way.
right.
So
Yeah, you're doing amazing things.
Thank you. I've gone from like one person a week for a whole year. Do you remember that when I first started? I'd cry and I'd say, "Oh, I must be really bad at what I do because I can only get one person a week."
Yeah.
So
you just had to change your energy.
Yes.
And start to believe in that, because that's always been a gift, and anybody who has seen you knows
oh,
that.
bless you. Thank you.
Yeah. And I told you so.
You should bloody do.
Now you got it on camera.
What can you do? And I was like, I can't do anything. What do you do?
But remember
what do
we
you do?
went to
spiritually?
Turtle Leaf and we had the whole conversation, and I'm like, you need to be doing that. Like,
Yeah, you need to be doing this. And I was
yeah.
like, well, I don't know how. And you're like, yes, you do. No, I don't. Yes, you do. I mean, it must have been quite frustrating for you to.
It wasn't just because I know what the journey of change looks like, and I know what I mean, that's the work that I do with people, right? Is like getting them from where they're supposed to be or where they want to be, and I know what that looks like, and a lot of times it takes time, and it takes we've got to work around the process of that a little bit.
And I also feel that when I did start as well, I expected it just to kind of happen, and it didn't. You know, it was a hard slog in terms of, and I hate a lot of the networking and the kind of the publicity side of it. And I know a lot of people that are in this kind of the spiritual realm of work, they don't like that. They maybe see it as not being real, whatever. But it is needed in order to attract people to you, so that people know who you are in order to work.
Yep.
So it's kind of a double-ended sword kind of thing, isn't it? You need it. So it isn't that there's any kind of fakeness attached to that. It's that you have to do it in order,
just like any
to
business,
have
right?
a business.
Yeah.
Yes. So that I was very kind of reluctant about when I first started. I turned a TV show down pretty early on with doing this. I was like, I don't want to be out there. I don't want to. But I realised that maybe would have really helped me if I'd have done it. You can't go back.
I mean,
can
call
you?
us back.
We can't go through the
Do this
wardrobe to
together.
try and get to it another way.
We're in now.
We're here now.
With you.
We will say yes
See how I
now.
just added myself into that?
Yeah. Hey, put us on a show. What can we do?
Yeah.
I love it. Thank you.
Well, thank you guys for tuning in.
Yes.
I don't know if I don't see that there was comments.
There's
but
no comments.
I don't know. It seems set up a little funny today.
Yeah.
So I
It's
don't know.
probably my energy.
I don't know what I'm doing.
I probably broke the thing.
But thank you guys so much for
Thank
tuning
you.
in. Leave any questions below. And thanks.
Thank you. Lots of love. Bye.